Well, welcome to a special kickoff for this week's update video from Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy at the Nautilus Dry Docks. It's Saturday morning, about 6:30. Sun is just coming up, and late yesterday I had an opportunity to snag a couple of boats. Trick is, it's up in North Dallas. So, you know what's coming. We got a chance to hop in the old Nautilus Dry Docks Express, fly up to McKinney, and grab those boats and bring them back. So I'm hoping to get most of this flying done during the cool part of the day this morning. We're gonna hook up with Rob, see what he's up to up there, and hopefully have a great time. Thanks for joining me. Kind of forget what a pain in the ass it is to fill up a car with gas after you drive an electric vehicle for a long time. I usually drive our Ford and it's just charged all the time because we just plug it in whenever it needs it. We've got like 300 miles of range. But this, you gotta stop by, stop what you're doing, fill up with gas. It's a pain. It's a pain! Pulling in at David Wayne Hooks. Lots of cool jets out on the jetway today. My plane is not like any of those. Boy, there's no planes here. It's like two way down there, getting ready to take off. Just gonna pull up to the hangar. I gotta pull the seats out because we need room to put these boats, and one of them is ever so sizable. So fortunately, my plane lets me do that. Get a little cargo area in the back. So let's crack in, do a little pre-flight. I'm here with Rob Stone. Rob's the gentleman I'm hooking up with and was nice enough to give me the opportunity to grab these boats. We're going to show you in a minute, but before I forget, because I will, Rob's got a YouTube channel.
It's X_TREMETOYZ, Extreme Toys. I also do eBay, and we have a Facebook group. Anything RC. We love it all. Been doing this for, geez, 40 years now.
That's awesome. I didn't even know. I have to check it out now. Let's take a look at what Rob has hooked me up with. So this is what we've got. There is this, which is what I was interested in at first, and then Rob's like, "Hey man, I'm looking to get rid of this too." So I'm like, "Well, why not, right?"
So this is the this is a Dumas Mr. Darby. It is one of the older kits. So it's the fiberglass hull with
fiberglass, yeah,
with really nice detail. Went ahead and I was concerned with the cooling, so I wanted a more scale appearance, so I added electric water pumps to cool the motors, so they do eject water out the side. It has working smoke, working lights, big brass props, runs for hours on a single charge. There's some videos of it on my YouTube running in several different locations. Some really pretty backdrops too. So
now I gotta find that, yeah.
Yeah, definitely some videos you need to go see. This is a Skipjack that I picked up somewhere. I can't quite remember where I got it. I got the bug to have another sub and picked it up. It's got a Futaba radio, all magnetic couplers in the back, so you can pull the WTC out no problem. I did convert it over to LiPo. Runs great, amazingly agile. Really surprised at the agility for it. So it'll make somebody a great little boat.
Yes, it will. We'll go through it when we get back to the dry docks. We'll put this stuff on the bench and we'll go through it in detail. You said maybe this might need some final trimming. And...
yeah, some final trimming. I would clean up this little repair area right here and just touch it up.
Well, now you're being picky.
I am. The little snorkel tube is super cool.
Yeah. That was a velocity. Where did he go?
There he is.
I lost him.
Look at the gear pull up and.
Oh, it's an RG. Yeah, I got excited too. It's like squirrel syndrome. That's a plane.
Yeah, plane.
All right, so now what I need to do, I need to pay you before I forget that too. And we need to get it in my plane, which I can probably handle. It's not a big deal. But
yeah, I think you're gonna have plenty of room.
Get it strapped down. I got 5 feet behind the seats, so
yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right. Well,
thanks, guys.
We're gonna pile everything in and then head back for home. We're home, and I'm really sweaty. It's like 95 degrees out at noon on Saturday, but successful flight, went awesome. Started to get a little cloudy and overcast on the way back, but that makes for some really cool flying. Got everything loaded up. I'm pretty excited about this haul. I think it's going to be really cool. We'll get this stuff listed here in a little bit, show it to you in the next little clipper that's going to come up here in a minute, which is going to be Monday my time. But for now, it's time to shut up the hangar, get home, and have a big tall glass of something cold. It's Monday morning, and there's a lot that I want to get done today. We're going to see how much we can accomplish. I want to get Lotus in the pool. I'm going to work on that right now, but before we can get it in the pool, I need to fix that one bolt that came loose. So I got to pull the watertight box, which is just 2 bolts, pull it out, secure the motors, lock them in place this time, and then we can button it back up again, let it cure off for my sealant, get it back in the pool here maybe in an hour or so. So just as a reminder, it was this that was going on. That bolt on the bottom side came loose, and so I got a wiggly motor. So it's behind the box, but fortunately all I need to do is just yank out my battery. 2 little bolts right there. Just 2 bolts. Out she comes. Fix everything up, put her back in. A little bit more silicone, and we're off to the races. All right. Lotus is done. Over here. Just curing out. We're going to go outside here in a little bit. It's nice and sunny. We're supposed to get thunderstorms later today, so I really want to get it out. I also managed to implement the programming that Nathan emailed me over the course of the weekend on the Typhoon for the bow retract. So let's take a look at that. So if you guys remember, this is the bow retract assembly in here, and this is our functional sonar, in case you forgot, functional sonar. But retracted position, and I just want to show you how this works. So this is you can see I'm locked out. I've got no forward dive planes, and we're retracted. So if I hit the yellow switch on the back here, they're going to extend nice and slow and stately. And now I've got bow planes. This is, by the way, without the use of any additional module or electronic component in the boat. This is all handled through the transmitter. Other neat thing about this, If I can do this, if I, for example, go up on this and then hit retract, watch what happens. So they automatically returned to neutral and then retracted. The coolest thing ever. Awesome. So now with Typhoon, everything's functional now, in theory, at least on the bench. Next big thing, which has turned out to be an issue with the last ones I built, you guys remember this, I need to bolt down the tops, get it completely sealed up, pressurize the compartment, and check it for leaks. So that is going to be the next thing. And you can see I've actually got a port on the side that the previous owner had put in. That should allow me to hook up my air compressor to it. I'll turn the pressure down really, really low, and we'll be able to pressure this up and listen for leaks. But while Lotus is drying, and we're just going to set this aside for 2 seconds, I want to go take a look at the boats I got from Dallas. All right, first up, we are talking about Skipjack. This is the Mobius Skipjack in 1/72 scale. Beautiful size. You know, this is like a one-hand boat that you can launch and retrieve, and it works really, really well when they get set up properly. You've got all these masts and everything on there is really cool, but you can see this like whip antenna in the front. This is apparently part of the secret sauce of this. This is actually the intake for the ballast system. I want to show you what that looks like once I get inside here. So this is a super clean install. Really like it. Self-adhesive ballast weights in here. This is an R&R watertight cylinder. Wow, really interesting the way this is done. So we got the receiver in here that goes through the ballast tank. Interesting. Okay. And then out into, oh, interesting. So he actually ran this through the air intake hose, which is kind of interesting. I mean, sure, why not? Goes out there, got a little L fitting in here to make a better connection, and then up and in here. Now, this is what I was talking about for this super sneaky upgrade. Typically, these R&R units utilize a snorkel valve with a little float, a ball float. What Rob told me is by going to this super thin tube, which is, by the way, the thin application nozzle for thin cyanoacrylate. He said air can enter and exit, but water will not flow in. So when he's under the water completely and he turns the pump on, this will not suck water in, or at least won't suck it in fast enough so that your vacuum situation in here can expand and bring you up to positive buoyancy. So that is super cool. Twin ESCs, I would assume one is for the motor and one is for the ballast system. We've got receiver, pump, main drive motor, the two servos there. Let's just pop these elastic bands off. Take a closer look at things. Got to figure out, okay, here's the main on-off switch here as well. This is the standard R&R setup and the standard R&R magnetic couplers here as well. What I want to do is pull this out and make sure that all of our linkages are nice and free moving. And because this is just a normal coupler, you can see with that shock absorbing mating there, we can, shoot, in theory, just be able to lift this out just like that. So there's a pocket for the battery, and he's got some foam in there. So I don't see any like automatic pitch controller, which would be easy enough to put in. I think I may still do that. Got all our weights and everything in the keel. And we'll just check our linkages here. Oh, yeah. Smooth. Oh, yeah. Really good. Perfect. Well, this is looking really, really good. Okay, I'm going to grab the battery. Get that all hooked up. We'll check the cylinder for operation, pop it back in, and then see. So we got keel weights in here, but I don't remember. No, there's no flotation in this, so I'm not sure how he was operating it. He said he had it in the water, so I don't know. I mean, I guess we just pop it in and see what it does, but I think a few minutes of trimming and this thing might be good to go. All right, so this is what the guts looks like out of the outer tube. And again, one of the cool things about the R&R cylinders is that everything is all integrated together and just goes through the outer tube. Now, again, cylinders are all about compromise. When you do that, you lose a little volume because now the diameter of your ballast tank is actually, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch narrower, smaller than the actual diameter of your cylinder. But having it like this is really awesome because you can run all of your power and everything in the perfect lengths. You don't need to allocate for popping end caps off, unless of course you have forward servo outputs, which we are not going to talk about right now. But the owner, Rob, was saying he was having problems with this pitch controller, but I just plugged it in. It's showing 0 bubble, and you can see that servo is working, and I do have override. So I don't know, maybe it was just a aberration or something, but hey, I got this here. This is all taken apart. I might as well plug it in, get it working. I'm not crazy. I am not crazy. You guys saw it. You saw it. This pitch controller was working with that servo right there. But now I've gone and plugged it in just using the same servo tester, same power, same polarity. The pitch controller has power, and you can see it's identifying 0 bubble, but it is not moving that servo, which does work. I plugged the servo directly in. So for whatever reason, this pitch controller, this AD2 pitch controller, does not like playing with these servos. So with that being the case, I guess this is just going to be a non-pitch controlled boat, unless we find a different manufacturer of pitch controller. Maybe I'll take a look. Maybe I have one sitting on the shelf somewhere. We can give it a shot. But if not, then this is not going to work. But, weird. I've not seen that before. I'll have to ask Kevin about that. So I managed to find this old micro gyros pitch controller unit majigger. And look at that. Works. So, I don't know. Kevin's unit just doesn't like playing with these old servos, I guess. Doesn't like those British servos? I don't know. But I'm not going to program this thing, and I'm sure there's a way to do it. Really could care less about it. But I just need to know. So, okay, if the boat goes down in this orientation, the servo pushes. If the servo pushes, the tail goes down. So this would create the infinite loop of death, whereas if the bow goes down, the tail would go down and you would just go down in general. So we want to orient this like this. So if the bow goes down, the servo pulls. If the servo pulls, the planes go down, the boat goes up, and all is right with the world. So like that. Down. Grab some 2-sided tape, and man, we're gonna be rocking a pitch controller. So, got the battery topped up, charged up. I got the radio charging right now. Went ahead and hooked up the battery. Did you guys notice something weird about that switch in this thing? Let's take a look. Did you catch it? I missed it. Did you catch it? These switches work a lot better when you connect them to something. This is not connected to something. So what should happen is power should come in, and then the power positive should whip through the switch and then back again to plumb out to all the speed controllers and everything. So I'm like, well, that's no problem. I'll just run the power through there. But the conduit is full. And the reason for that is that Rob used welding cable, like freaking 6-gauge wire for these little motors. And it is stuffed right full. There's no way I'm going to be able to get a wire through here. What really should happen is just snip these wires, pull them back, and run some, you know, like 16 gauge or something like that. Something a little more reasonable through that conduit, leaving room for that power switch. I've just decided I'm just going to leave this be. This is not a commission build or anything. It's going to be a nice flip for me, hopefully, and a perfect starter boat for someone. This is going to be really, really epic. And doing that project is going to be something that someone who's just getting started in the hobby should be able to do with zero problem, and it will start getting them intimately familiar with their cylinder. So I feel pretty good about this. Now, if someone just doesn't have the time or inclination, or has some money burning a hole in their pocket, I can do it, but obviously I am not going to do it for free. So we're just going to run it as is, which is perfectly fine. It's just a little inconvenient. You got to put the battery in, connect the battery, slip it in, drop it in, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to go ahead, throw the battery in, throw the cylinder in, do the checky of the throws and the movements and all of that stuff, and make sure it's ready for the water. This would be a great time to talk about the radio for this thing. This, realistically, in this market, because these are in such high demand, this is probably a $500 radio. This is a Futaba T9 capsule, a 9-channel FM radio. This is on 72 on channel 43. But super desirable radio, you know, for anybody with a boat with lots of functions. You know, this would be highly air brake. Okay, I don't know what an air brake is. Go away! No! Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, air brake. Power that up. Power this up and check the functions. Okay, I literally just powered it up. I don't even know what button does what around here. Okay, we got dive planes, rudder. Okay, looking good. Throttle is looking good. Super smooth, love it. And now we got to figure out what the ballast situation is. Is it this one? Oh, that's weird. Nope, that does weirdness. No touchy. This one? Nope, that apparently makes the motor go. What the heck? Oh, there we go. So ballast is blue. Okay. So down is down and up is up. Boy, I'd sure love to put that on switch C. You know, I'm not going to mess with it. Again, this is something that the new owner can mess around with. But blue ballast, B for ballast, blue, B for blue, and B for ballast. Down, up. Everything is functional. So, going to go ahead, throw this back in the tube, put it in the boat, hook up the linkages, and make sure the linkages are all set up correctly. So, again, it's like super cool. Just gonna go ahead, tuck these in, and you just slip it in. Just like this. Doesn't matter how it's oriented. Done like dinner. All right, I just dropped it in. Let's see what happens here. Down, up. Oh, that's not a lot of throw. That is not a lot of throw. That is a lot of throw. Like a lot. We got like brake situation going on here. Okay. So you can adjust the endpoints in here somehow. We'll figure out what that looks like. It's our rudder. I think the endpoints are set low on channel 2 there. Okay. So, I think everything is good. I'm just going to try and dive into the menu in here to see if I can adjust the endpoints for both the rudder and the dive planes. I got to try and remember how the heck you do that on this thing. All right, that was much easier to find than I thought it was. So these are our endpoints. All of these were set at like 140%. I've already adjusted the rudder, and now it's much reasonable. 30 degrees is what you're wanting here, people. Anything more and it just turns into a brake. The throttle likewise was set as 140%. This thing is plenty fast. It doesn't need 140% on the main reactor. But the elevators, which is you know, channel 2 here, apparently is already set at 140, which I don't think is correct. So what I'm going to do, fortunately, I think what I can do is just switch these two around. The closer you get to the fulcrum from your driving force, the more sweep you're going to get of that arm. And so if we switch these around, it should greatly increase the throw of that linkage. So we're going to go ahead and grab some tools and swap them around and see if that makes a difference. All right, here is the resultant, and it did make a difference. The port side plane is looking much better, but the starboard one is not. There's something weird going on. It's like the throw is not the same. I got to check and make sure that they're connected on the same holes, which it looks like they are. Of course you guys can see that. Of course you can see that. What is super interesting to me is I don't see any set screws to release that back or whatever, but let me take a closer look here. I'm not liking it. We got to smoothen this up a little bit. It's binding, so maybe a little bit of lubrication in here and in there. Let's see what we can do to free that up. All right, boys and girls, a little troubleshooting 101. So I was getting binding. So what I wanted to do, you need to eliminate everything down to the most bassist, is that a word? Who's not playing a guitar? The simplest connection. So right now the only connection is this one side. This is perfect. Works really good. This is not. If I grab this linkage, let go. It binds in the middle intermittently. Right there, it goes, catches a little bit. You see it kind of like flick up like that. If I give some upward force, it's perfect. So I think that the bushing that it's riding on in there is loose, if there is a bushing in there. We're gonna have to, oh boy, we're gonna need to figure something out. It's just not right. It's just not right. Another thing, steel hardware. So I'm gonna just oil these to try and mitigate the rust on that. But really, this should all be stainless because you're gonna get rust all through there. Fortunately, these are big. You got a big meaty Allen wrench that you can put on there to make them up and break them down. But stainless, people, no steel. All right, boys and girls, I've been trying to fight with this a little bit to get it working better. You see, I replaced this linkage arm, so now these are equal length and all stainless, which is nice. I replaced the servo. It does not have the same amount of throw as the other one, but this is better than the other one. Here's the problem. This magnetic coupler does not have the horsepower to keep this together, so you can see it comes apart at that point. I think what I need to do is take this off and go ahead and replace it with one of my heavy-duty click-on magnetic couplers. That will ensure a much more positive connection in here and get more throw. You can see I'm missing a 1/4 inch there. So let me whip out a click on, and we'll see what we can do for that. All right, this may look a little ghetto, but it's bulletproof. 2 super strong click-on version 2.0 magnetic couplers, and because this angle and this angle are different, I elected to use an alignment collar, aluminum alignment collar in there. Now you can see we've got way better deflection. It's smooth. There is 0 binding. Everything is working perfectionally. All right, we are obviously outside at the top secret test facility. Time to throw this thing in the pool and see if and where it floats. Okay, baby. I didn't really check to see what he had in there for, and apparently nothing. For drainage hole? Oh no, there must be something in there. Come on, baby. It's still going down. Okay, so it's a little nose heavy. So let's go grab some foam and see what happens. All right, she is floating perfectly level with the water line, which is super convenient because the model has the water line inscribed in the hull. So now I'm going to grab the transmitter and see what happens when we try and dive. All right, here is the sit rep. She's floating level, ballast tank is completely full, but we have a lot of positive buoyancy here that we still need to overcome. Problem. This ballast tank is not of sufficient size to float this boat at its full water line. I don't think that's a big problem. All we're gonna do now is get it down. We're gonna remove foam and we're gonna get it down to where it's floating properly and then see where it floats. All right, while this thing is kind of settling, you can see 1/2 inch of tower out. That's where I want it. Stripped a bunch of foam out from where it was before. So obviously it's gonna be sitting lower in the water than it was previously, but let's see how bad we're actually talking. So the submerged trim is rock solid. Now let's see what happens. So far, so good. I have a hunch he's gonna sit low in the bow. But what the problem was, I think the cylinder was mounted too far aft in this boat. Is it still coming up? I don't know. Okay, I don't think this is bad. It's low, a little low in the front. But overall, I think this is going to be okay. The most important thing is the submerged trim. All right, after all of that, just 2 little pieces in the bow and 1 in the stern. And that should be just about right. No, not even a drop in the watertight compartment. So that's really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Silicone these in place, and then we can let that cure. And then I'm gonna grab the Lotus right away, and we're gonna go out and trim that bad boy. Back outside since I got all my trimming memorabilia out here. Lotus is buttoned up. Let's just throw it in the water and see where it floats. I just remember I don't have any like drain holes at the bottom. So that's going to make it awfully difficult to fill. Like, how cool is that though? Look at that. All right, let me go get a bit and we'll drill some holes in this thing. All right, got some holes in the bottom and air holes in the top. Why didn't you guys tell me that I was forgetting those? Come on now, people, you're supposed to be looking out for me. Filling, 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 sinking. Okay, so the question, how much foam do we need? All right, we got a bunch of foam in here. I had jammed it underneath, you know, the sides, but it was really unstable. So we need to have that higher up. So I got this taped down temporarily. We'll flip it over, get it on, get it back in the water, and then do some fine tuning. Okay, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, I ran the boat in the pool and I didn't share it with you guys. I needed to two-hand it, I needed to focus. Didn't have time for chit-chat. But, a couple of takeaways. This thing is like insane fast, like insane fast. It also, as soon as you get any sort of speed on it, nosedives, hardcore. Which is interesting because the thrust is actually below the center line of the boat. These planes, as large as they are and as far out as they are from the center point of the boat, did not have enough force at lower speeds to overcome that diving tendency. Poop! And last, I got a leak in my container somewhere. So I am going to go ahead and put a test hose in here, and we'll be testing this, obviously. But in the meantime, I'm going to let it all dry out. I'm going to permanently affix this foam. The other thing that happened, and I'm sure you guys would have loved to have seen it, is the top popped off right when I was coming near the steps because of all of the buoyant force of all of this stuff. I knew it was going to do that, and I told you what the solution to that was going to be, is to affix that weight to the top of the watertight box. So I didn't do that. I rushed it. I was anxious, and it popped off. So I had to get my pool net and get it out. Lessons learned. So valuable time. We got the trimming part correct. We have the correct amount of foam. I think what I want to do is put more of it near the front. Get a more nose high attitude so that it has more of a tendency when you get some speed to drop that nose down maybe a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna dry it out, get some foam in place, and then we're gonna take a look at Mr. Darby. So here is the final flotation setup. I got some tape on the bottom there so that allows this foam to curl down when the top gets put on. But of course, when the water fills, it'll just whoop, and it'll rest up against the top. And I have a rubber band that slips over there. This is going to be impossible for me to do with one hand. Hold on a second. So it just gets held on with the rubber bands. Can't really move at all. I think it's going to work good. Now, just got to figure out where this is leaking and figure out why it wants to. All right, no more procrastination. Let's take a look at this. I know it's a submarine channel, but I mean, hey, it's still cool. Mr. Darby, gigantic, 4-foot long tugboat. This is a sizable submarine. Like, these props are like at least 3 inches in diameter. He did a really, really good job in putting this together. Just a lot of really awesome details, and the crane especially is super cool. He gave me a brief overview about how it goes together and how it works. This is the radio that goes with it. But let's take a couple minutes and see if we can figure out how this thing works. So there's a couple things. This is magnetic hold down right there, so we can set that aside. And oh, it looks like that broke off. That's good. And this comes off here. And I think those are 2 lighting leads, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just set that over here. And now we can see everything is in there. Look at those motors, holy. And they got the cooling system for it. Runs through a water pump. And I got to see how this is. Yeah, that's all plumbed out. So in parallel there, and then it goes out these holes in the side. And this is the pump right there. And he's actually even got a little primer. So when you put it in, you uncork this, and then the water will go up, fill the pump, and go out. Otherwise, it needs to be primed. So here's the speed controllers right here. Main battery. I think this is a switch for the lights, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the receiver. And then where did... Oh, and then there's the little smoke. This is the smoke generator right here. So I am going to grab the stuff that I need to grab. And we're going to see if I can rig this up and get her operating on the bench. All right, so we got all this out of order because Jason came and we just decided to throw this thing in the water. So you saw some footage of this zipping around a few seconds ago. Holy cow. So it's running off of this gargantuan 8 amp 4S battery. That's too much. That's ridiculous. I mean, with these huge props, they're 12 volt motors, so there's no reason to do that. So it was 8 amps. Let's go 10. 10 amps, 12.8 volts. So we'll drop the voltage down a little bit, and this will fit right in there. This is about the same weight as that. So we'll put that in. The other thing we figured out is that the water pump for the cooling is not functional, but look at this. Exact same pump. I just happen to have sitting on the shelf. So we're just going to swap that around. This is a little brushless motor, apparently. Brushless DC pump. 300 liters per hour, and that one is 240. So I don't know, maybe that's too much. I don't know. But, well, of course, it'll be getting less voltage, so probably be perfect. So we'll disconnect all of that. We'll swap that in. We'll get that going. And the smoke, we figured the smoke out. Kind of. It just pees out super slow. I've got this one. Let's fire this one up and see if we can get some real smoke coming out of this bad boy. So, got a little bit of work to do. That's better. That's some smokage. We got twin smokage going on here. So that is much better. Well, Mr. Darby is all upgraded. Got a new battery, 10 amps over 5 amps, and that's the lithium phosphate metal hydride, whatever. So instead of 14.4 volts, it's run off 12.4. That'll slow down the props a little bit, and the motors will run cooler. I think it's going to be a way, way better way of going, and it's a more robust battery as well. Put in a brand new cooling pump that's going to pump water out the sides, so that's going to be super cool. And got new smoke units installed in there as well. So all that's left to do is throw it in the pool. I don't have time to do it today. Hopefully I can do it tomorrow, and well, maybe we'll put it in the water. And of course, you can control all the lights from the remote. Whew, man, we're outside for just like 5 minutes to throw that thing in the water. I'm sweating. Tuesday morning here at the dry docks. Priority before it starts raining later today. Let's see if we can get Skipjack in the water. Get her working, get her up, get her listed, get him in the hands of someone that's going to really enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead, fire it up, seal it up, test it on the bench, and then we're going to go back out to the top secret test facility. At the aforementioned top secret test facility, Skipjack is launched, ready to put her through her paces. All right, that is where she is going to float. Slightly nose heavy, but still with a really nice profile, actually. All right, I'm gonna attempt to drive this one-handed, see what we can do. So that's about a quarter throttle. Oh, this is a fast boat. Love it. Alright, so just got the Skipjack all done. The Skipjack's listed, the tug is listed. Get to it, people. Get to it. Get her sold. Before I dig into the Lotus and figuring out why that thing's leaking, I want to show you a kit that we have. We got the 3D printed files on the website, but I managed to get the actual physical parts printed off, and maybe we'll offer this as a kit. Let me know what you think. Drop the comments below. So this is a Jules Verne inspired Nautilus, not the Disney version, obviously. This is a little bit more accurate to the novel that Jules Verne wrote. This was created by Frank Chase, and he did an amazing job in drafting all of this out. He has a lot of very, specific reasons for a lot of these design characteristics. And he actually wrote a book that you can purchase on my website where he goes into it in depth. But it's just a really neat boat. Let's start at the back here. So you got your rudder and the rudder connection pieces, propeller, and then looking up on the deck here. I didn't realize this was how the 3D files were, but these are actually kind of free floating. So you could actually cut those out and have these open and close if you wanted to. All these little hatches on the top, and then you've got these really neat wheelhouse and lantern enclosures in here, And then this is a removable skiff with like a little prop. Look at that. And that idea is this folds out on these davits. And that's how he engineered that to work. But if I just go ahead and remove these so I don't break anything, upper hull is one piece, lower hull is one piece. This is basically all set up for, you know, conversion to RC operation, which was how I envisioned it when I modified the files that Frank had sent me. Just a little tiny bit of warping. If you hold it down, it settles itself right down. But it's got the Z-cut in there already, so all set up. This would be perfect for our 250 series watertight cylinder. It would go like right in there, and you would make a super cool RC model out of this. I'm really tempted to get one of these printed up for myself. I think it would operate really well. Now, the only thing I'm kind of concerned about, now you'd get really superior response to, you know, yaw with the rudder right behind the prop like this. The only thing I'm concerned about is in the design, there's only one set of dive planes, and they're located up front. So if we put this top back on, if you look at the placement, they are forward, which means I think they may work well. I think they would work, but obviously not as ideal as if these were further forward or if these were in the back. So it'll be interesting to see from a practical design perspective, or a practical operational perspective, how these work. But just a great design, super unique. You really don't see a lot of Verne Nautilus models out on the pond, and this is just a great size, beautiful size, really convenient, and it would make a beautiful display model when you're not running it. Well, I just ran out to storage, and by the time I came back, you guys came through for me. The Skipjack sold. It was only up for like maybe half an hour. That's awesome. I'm gonna get to packing up. It's gonna get shipped out tomorrow, hopefully. So thanks, guys. You're the best. All right, I am going to button up the Typhoon. Put all these wing nuts on here. There's about 864,000 of them. I'm just curious. I just want to know, how long is it going to take to bolt that all down? Let's see. Let's try. Let's measure. Let's time.
On your markets, I go.
Stop! 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Woo! That's ever so sucky. Again, though, guys, this is all about compromise. You want unlimited access to everything. You're going to have a big opening. You have a big opening, you got a big surface you need to seal. That is just the way it works. So, what we need to do now, this is all sealed up. I'm going to grab the compressor and put it on very low. Put it on here, pressure it up, and see if it holds. Well, not looking awesome so far. Just pumping it in. And then what I did is I took this off so I could put my thumb on here and then pressure it up and then release. But it's not holding anything at all. But I can't hear it leaking from anywhere. Now, one of the neat things about these seals, you can see if you look real close, you can see, you know, a dark line, and that's pretty well indicative of whether or not the seal is being compressed. So if you go all the way around, like potentially here, maybe here, you know, that's a little weird right there. This all looks good. That's sealed all the way around. But I mean, it could be anywhere. These seals could be leaking. These seals could be leaking. I guess what I'm going to need to do is bring this into the pool, because there's no smoking gun showing where the leaks are coming from. Maybe right there. I don't know. Okay, it's Wednesday. I'm just going to start the day out playing with this. I removed the antenna cap and replaced it with the hose, this long hose, to blow in to get more volume than I had before. And it was also quieter so I could listen for the leaks. And this is what I found. Right here, not here, but here, there's a little pinhole. And it's significant enough that this will only hold pressure for a second or two before it bleeds out. So I'm going to dry this really, really well and wick in some resin all through this area. And that should, in theory, seal off the leak. And then we can move on to the next leak, of which I am positive there will be one of. Okay, I've cleaned this up. I took that little chunk off. It was a little tiny pinhole right there. I've filled that up, and what I'm going to do afterwards is coat that with some 5200, and that'll be all bulletproof there. But this is going to be just the typical situation. So you fix one hole, and you identify another one. So I heard something over here, and what I'm doing, I'm actually sucking on this to try and get the sound to come back. So let's see if we can figure. I'll bet you maybe it's in here. Let's see. Yep, I can feel air here. So here we go again. So actually really good success. There was just those two spots, and what it was here was a little bit of a separated seam. And so I wicked in some thin CA, and through capillary action, that's going to flow right down through that crack. And then I put another coat of thicker CA on it, and then after that's all done, I'm going to hit it with a 5200, which will really, really seal it up. Now, when I blow in it, it's maintaining really, really good pressure, but I can still hear a little tiny leak coming from over here. It's somewhere in here. So not sure if it's back where I had the repair before or if it's coming from here. So what I'm going to do, I got some ultra concentrated dish soap. We're going to just get a little on the Q-tip. We're going to spread it around these seals and here and look for some bubbles. Okay, well, I mean, I've tried everything. I've gone around here, I've gone around here, gone around here, gone around here, gone around here, even gone around here. I can't see bubbles anywhere. Little, like, after like 10 seconds, one bubble forms here when I really, really blow into it. I don't think that is the issue. I think in order to identify the leak, we're going to have to drop this in the pool, which is fine. I think what I'm going to do is wait for Jason. He's going to be coming in about 10:30 this morning. Give me a hand, so much easier to maneuver this monstrous boat into the top secret test facility with two people doing it. And then one person can hold the boat under the water while the other person blows in and checks for leaks. So I think for now, we're going to leave this alone, put a little pin in it, and maybe move on to starting to pack up the Skipjack. And I can't remember if I talked about this or not. I actually decided to go with something a little cleaner for the connection for the dive planes. A couple of times the rear planes disconnected, but they kind of snap back in. But I want 100% bulletproof connection for this. So really, you just slip this on and tighten it down. Not as convenient as the magnetic, but it is bulletproof, fail-safe, won't come disengaged. So that's more about what it is. It's all about, function over form. I think it's going to do much, much better. So that's all been bulletproofed. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill up the inside of the hull here with bubble wrap, so it'll put some pressure on these weights for transport. less likely that they come apart. And then button it up, shrink wrap it, and then protect the heck out of this area and this area here. What I might do, what I'm probably going to do, is loosen these off, pull the whole drive shaft off. That way there's no chance that this prop ends up breaking. So I just had Lotus in the water to find out where the leak was, and it turns out there's around this seal right here. So it's all wet. I'm going to use this. I don't know if you guys see me use this before. It's a Sinkel air duster. These are super useful. If you bring it to the pond, you can blow your model off so you don't get hard water drops that dry on it, but you can also use it inside. You can use it to blow off your workbench, blow off all your power tools, all the dust and everything in here. These are super powerful, and they're pretty cheap. Listed on my favorite things page. And just a reminder, if you haven't seen that before, right on the top of my website, favorite things, I got them all listed out, the stuff that I like to buy and use and recommend. If you click through those links, I get a little tiny commission, a little baby one. Helps us out here a lot. So check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. So Lotus, we're getting the thing figured out there. One of the speed controllers stopped. I yanked it out. Well, I didn't all the way yank it out. Checked for power first. It was getting power. Swapped out the motor, and it wouldn't drive the motor. So this is dead. Now, these are running in the wet, and I know there's a lot of you, oh, we don't run stuff in the wet. These are fully waterproof, and you can see they're completely encapsulated from the factory. But I'm perfectly willing to acknowledge that there may be factory issue with the waterproofing aspect of this. Let's cut into this. It's dead anyway. Let's cut into it and see how it works, because that's how you learn. All right, I know you guys can't see very well, but doing the best I can here, people. I'm just gonna slit the waterproof casing. And we'll check and see. How do they do it? How do they waterproof it? Yep, water in there. There's moisture. There's moisturage, people. Not so cool. I've been running these fine, you know, with Shark and a bunch of other projects. This just must be a factory defect. So I got the new ESC curing. I got to put another layer of RTV around the outside there, just to be double sure that it's completely sealed. Apparently the other ones are fine because they spent the same amount of time in the water, and everything is fully functional. So I'll be able to remount that momentarily. But hey, I just wanted to mention, because I kind of forgot. Yesterday, went for a doctor's appointment for my cancer follow-up. You guys keep asking me how that's going. Another year, I'm fully clear. So, like 2 more years, and I'll be considered like cured. So, that's super cool. But they've told me I have kidney stones. Little baby kidney stones in my left kidney. So, I need to drink lots of water. So I got big bottles sitting around the shop. If you see me and I don't have water, you need to yell at me, okay? I gotta drink and flush these things out before they become a problem. All right, boys and girls. I got Lotus back to where it was before it sank and malfunctioned and leaked all over the place. But the good news is we've got the trim situation figured out in theory. Be able to put it back in the water, obviously. I could even do that today just to double check the trim. The issue, fundamentally, is that it really, really, really wants to nosedive almost immediately under throttle. Now, this thing's got a lot of horsepower. These props work so good, and they look super awesome, too. I am trying to figure out what it is that's causing that. Now, I can easily just say hydrodynamic forces. I don't know what that actually means. It could just be water flow over the hull is causing it to nose down. It's not the props. So let's re-examine what we got going on here. We've got contra-rotating props. So the roll or the torque induced by the props cancel each other out, port and starboard. The drive shafts and propeller output is completely parallel to the longitudinal axis of the craft. So it is not, in theory, imparting downward force due to thrust. Okay, it's due to movement through the water. So all that said, what we need to do now is figure out a way to impart a downward force in the stern to counteract the downward force acting on the bow. My thought, as unscale as this would look, would be to put a couple little trim tabs on the trailing edge of at least 2, potentially 4 of these motors, of the rudders, sorry. So we get little trim tabs that face downward and redirect the thrust vertically. So my thought is to start perhaps maybe with the inboard rudders, fabricate some little tabs that will be angled downwards, and see what that does to the performance. If it's not enough, I can just add more to the outboard ones as well. If it's too much, I can cut them down so they impart less force. So that is my thought. I'm going to see what kind of material I can find that'll work really good, that's fairly thin and might look kind of cool. We'll slit the back of the rudder, press it in, glue it so it's got lots of strength, and then just see what we're going to do. See how it works. Put it in the water. Give it a try. Well, what do you think? They're clear. It's not like I'm hiding them or anything. They look kind of neat. They look kind of trim. You know, they're stock-ish. I don't know about the angle. I'm guessing. You know, I mean, there's maybe like 20 degrees on there. I'm gonna wick in a little thin CA, lock them in place, and then in theory, we could throw this thing back in the pool when Jason gets here. Right, we are out at the top secret test facility with
hello
and him. And we're just going to throw it in the small test facility and try and figure out where those bubbles are coming from in the back. I was telling Jason, if it's just a little tiny bit, I'll grab the radio and the top, we'll throw that on, and we'll see if we can get it trimmed out too. That's awfully optimistic.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's see what this does. Alrighty, here's where she's floating without the top on. Looks awfully light in the bow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we'll see how it sits with the top on. There's some mass to that. But we figured out where the leak is. It's super easy. Let's take a look. Watch. Pay attention, people.
Right there in the bellows.
Bellow seal. Right on the top. There's a little pinhole. A little tiny pinhole.
Yep.
Not a problem. I can swap that out postish, hastish. No problem at all. Well, ballast system was working perfectly, and then it decided to not work perfectly, in that it is not working at all anymore. So we just decided to start with surface trim. This is all the weight that we need to get to this point. I don't think this was put on the right spot. I'm not sure. It's not even level. Like it's... But... No, but I mean the line isn't proper. But at any rate, this will be a good place to start. I'm pretty sure Typhoon had her shrouds in the back there, just barely sticking out of the water in full surface. Now I don't know what that translates to for this boat and its ballast capacity, but this is where we're going to start. We're going to bring it back inside, drain it out, shove some weight in, and try and figure out why the ballast system stopped working. But while it's sunny, we might as well go grab the Lotus.
Okay. dive planes to keep them, give them an upward.
It's not enough. See, look, they're in full up right now. What the phone? Well, now we might have got it lifted. Yeah, I think adding more of those baffles. So I've got 2 on there. If I put another 2,
I was just thinking maybe you just extended them a little bit.
well, I'll put them on the other, because I've only got them in the middle right now. All right, so we got at least double the downward force on the stern of the boat now. So in theory, we should be seeing some significant changes.
That's better.
So I still got quite a bit of upward force on the dive planes. I think if I were to, well, you know, I wonder with the faster I go, the more downward force would be on the. Oh yeah, I can go up and down now.
Oh no!
Uh-oh. That was overly aggressive. No, no, no!
Well, we got a meltdown. Go.
So this is like Santa's workshop here today. We got a lot of stuff done on a smaller number of projects. So Jason is installing some ballast weights inside the watertight compartment that we roughly got figured out.
Trying to.
We got the aft bellows seal figured out, and then we figured out the leak up in the front was actually coming from the servo wire that I had glued in there. So rather than being a lazy idiot, we just put a proper waterproof connector in there. So now we just got to label these lights and servo, although this will actually just be connected there all the time, so you don't even need to worry about it. Got weights in. So I think between this and that's where that leak was coming from. The lid checked out perfectly. There was no leaks at all coming from that. We got some more weight going in here and another plate in the back, so that's all drying. So I think we're, oh, the only other thing I want to do, I needed to put a stop in here somehow so that this doesn't overextend and pop out. So, and don't, just look carefully. What is in this frame that you guys have seen before many times. So this is Howard's poor Engel 212. Last time it got shipped, it got mangled. It was in that hard-sided carry case with custom cut foam, and when he got it, it was all like out and twisted, and its watertight integrity is fine. He checked it, and that's all good. The deck, unfortunately, is smashed, but we can fix that. There seems to be a leak coming from underneath, which we think is coming from this periscope actuation device. I just literally took this out. And the stern planes are all mangled, like mangled. And I don't know what is going on, but it's going through puberty. It's got pimples. This is under the paint. But only this one section. Oh, well, yeah, just that one section.
Prop's got coral or something on it.
Yeah, there's like corrosion. What was he sailing this in? Hydrochloric acid? Like, what the heck? So what he's saying is the motor's not working properly. Obviously the dive planes are all screwed up. That's broken and it's leaking from here. And he wants to run it at Subfest. So, yeah.
No biggie.
Get on it. Man, I absolutely, positively, in no way whatsoever want to have to crack into this. It is the worst. All of this needs to be taken apart, pulled out, everything removed. I think this could just simply be massaged back into place and re-glued. But we'll fire it up and check the throw and everything. See what's going on. But it's like squished vertically. And for anybody who cares, this is what the top side of the Engel 212 looks like. That's the periscope system. What's weird about this though is that the periscopes retract when it dives. They should extend when it dives. But this as the piston tank pressurizes the cylinder, it increases the air pressure. The air pressure escapes through this hose, and then there's a little like actuator inside, like a hydraulic plunger that pushes down, bloop, and drops the periscopes.
Can you say the leak's coming from in here somewhere?
Don't know. We'll have to. We can start by repairing this crack, and then.
It looks like it's coming from right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's like
maybe just
oblong just a little bit, like it's not seated properly.
We'll just push it down and probably fixed it. There you go. That'll be $199.
You're welcome, Howard.
Okay. We've done some doing. These were able to be fixed just simply by bending them back into shape. Cosmetically, it needs some work now. This was the worst one because it was bent past the bushing. I had to pinch it here and straighten it out. But now, actually, if I hold this, go ahead and move the right stick up, down, left, right. Everything works perfectly. There's no binding. They're set up properly. And then the throttle. Ooh, that puts out a nice breeze. Forward, reverse. The issue with that was that the radio was set capping the throttle off at 50%. So I just went in and adjusted the endpoints and boom, full power. I don't know if, do you think maybe he or somebody else who was helping him adjusted it back?
I'm not sure. Somebody was playing with it.
Yeah.
Started hitting buttons.
But maybe he thought it was too fast and so he scaled it back.
That could be too. I don't know.
Yeah. At any rate, everything is functional. This is working good. We didn't have to crack into it. Now we've got to put this all back together again. We're going to run out to the top secret test facility and check for boobles. All right, we are back out at the top secret test facility. We're going to drop this thing in the water and see if we can recreate the issues. Really should turn it on. There we go. We got rudderage. Just hold on to it. I want to goose that throttle and see how she moves. Oh yeah, baby. That's moving some water.
Sure.
Okay, so the upper deck you can see is just loose. It's like falling around. So if you want to just slide that off so we can see all the hose connections and everything, I'll cycle the ballast and then we'll see if we can see what we can see. Maybe hold it under the water and then we'll look. Is it doing anything? Did I go the wrong way? Let me go the other way. That way?
It's working. I can feel it.
Oh. Where's that coming from?
It's coming from the seal.
That's poopy.
It's coming from back here somewhere.
God damn it. Alright, take it out. Like all the way out of the water. And then I'll empty the ballast tank. Alright, we have a plan. The leak is occurring in one of two places. The main seal, or the bellows seals, or the main shaft seal. And because we've got access to that area. Now what we can do, we can put it in upside down, and let me turn it on. And when I cycle the ballast, the leak will either come from around the main seam there, or obviously from there. Oh, yep. What the hell?
It's coming from this.
The hole. No, there's like a little hole there.
There's two of them. There's one on both sides.
What is that?
I don't know. One's got to be probably a water intake, I would think.
It is, yeah, but what's that other little hole? Is there supposed to be something plugging that? All right, you guys. You're smarter than me. It's the hole to the right. The little baby one. That's where all the air is getting forced out from. What is that for? It doesn't look like anything came out of it. There's no plug or anything. Some glue around it. Weird. I'm just not familiar with it. Maybe it must serve a purpose. There's like a brass insert in there and everything. Yeah. So, well, I'm going to put a post up on the forums, and we'll see if anybody who's smarter than me, or at least more experienced with me with the 212s, can figure out what that little port is for. I don't want to just like glue it.
Oh, screwed the boat up even more, yeah.
Although I can't see what would be wrong with that.
Well, if anybody else has a 212 out there,
Well, I'm sure they do.
knows
And they'll tell me.
what's going on.
Yeah. All right. We'll get this figured out with your help. I had a revelation. I went back in to get changed, to go bring Renee to a doctor's appointment, and I'm like, you know what? I bet that hose outlet is for the pressure sensor for the ballast system. So this is the pressure sensor right here. And if you take a look, the intake for it, for the sensor pad, runs through this little piece of rubber hose, all through this brass tube, through a piece of rubber hose, and it comes out right there. So that was the outlet. What this is telling me is there's probably a breach in this assembly, in this hose somewhere. So when this pressures up, it forces air through it and out that hole in the back. And then when you cycle the ballast again, it sucks water from wherever that breach is into the dry compartment of the sub. So that is what is going on. That, or potentially the pressure sensor itself has a big breach in it somewhere, but I'm kind of doubting that's the case. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is plug the hole in the back, pressurize this just by blowing in it, and see if it leaks or not. And if so, we got to find the leak. And man, I sure hope it's not way in the back here. And then get it fixed. Good morning. Thursday morning. Rainy morning here in Spring, Texas. I just spent the morning making an overview video of the Lotus, which worked so good. We had so much fun. I added larger ducts or fins on the back of the center rudder, so I think it's going to be behaving even better next time I take it out. But if you want to see how it was all put together, in case you haven't seen my previous videos and where I actually put it together, that's up and live. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out here a lot, okay? All right, I'm going to kick things off with, I got some packages last night. I'm super excited. We're going to unpack the big one when Jason gets in here in a little bit. That is super cool. You are going to love, love, love that. But I got a couple things that I got off of Facebook. I am so bad for buying crap off of that platform. But in this case, I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing. All right. First up, some electrical connectors. So these are supposedly waterproof electrical connectors, two prong. So the idea is you feed them through the inside there, snap them down, that locks it in place, and then you do the same thing on the other side, and then you can literally connect these together like this, and now it's a connection, a waterproof connection, and then you can pull them back apart again. So it's a removable connection, I guess. No soldering required. Now it's bigger than like a micro Deans, but it's still pretty tiny. You can see, the size of that. Might be good for smaller cylinders, I couldn't tell you where the heck I got these. It was on Facebook, Facebook ads or whatever. I'll see if I can track down the link, and if I can, I'll put it in the video. But that's kind of cool. I'm excited to give this a try. I'm willing to give it a shot. And then the next thing I got is one of these by a company called Saker. So you should be able to track this down. It's like a little airbrush. Now, you look at the size of this thing. It looks like, you know, the size of a big revolver or whatever, right? It's huge. Like, look at, compared to that person's hand. This is what I actually got. It's, you know, maybe not quite as big as that, but I'm kind of stoked about this. Let me show you what this thing actually looks like. So we got this little gun, comes pre-charged, charges with USB-C. It's got a big ass battery in it, and I guess the secret sauce, it uses these standard you know, syringe tips. You see that? To create the atomization. So I've just got some water in here. I'm curious to see what this does. So I guess you just put this in. I literally unboxed this like 2 minutes ago. You screw it down, and then the nozzle is sitting right in front of the air there. Let's see. Let's spray the box down. Does it work? Well, it works really good with water. I don't know. Give it a try with some paint. You know, I hate busting out like my full-fledged airbrush. This would be way easier to clean. And then when you're done with it, you just seal up the tip and you got your paint for another day. So you could keep primer in here, or black paint or red paint or whatever it is you use all the time, and just unscrew this and put the cap on and put it on the shelf. It'd be ready for next time. Toys, enough toys. Peel the sticker. Oh, we left the sticky stuff on there. Come on. I hate when the sticky is left on. Let's get some work done. All right, first project we're going to try and knock out is the 212. Now, I replaced the forward section of rubber hose. You guys saw that a little bit earlier there. Replaced it with brand new silicone hose. I made it a little bit longer. There's like a safety loop in there now, so it's not so tight. Hopefully that worked. Jason just showed up. So there he is in the rain. So I'm going to let him in, and we're going to go out back in the rain and give it a quick test. All right, so we brought the 212 out, and we got to we managed to cycle the piston tank once, and there are a bunch of bubbles coming from the seam between the front and the back, but we can't tell if it's coming from the actual seal or not. We were going to cycle it again, and I think the batteries went dead. So it's on the charger right now.
It isn't one thing, it's another with that boat.
It's cursed. Although if I was abused as badly as that boat, I'd be ornery too. Typhoon, the high quality Chinese power switch let go. It just fell apart. Literally fell apart. Went to go flick it and it like fell apart. So we replaced it with a different switch. That's been replaced. It's drying right now. But in theory, with the new weights installed, situated in the boat, secured with some glue, we should be ready for trimming. Trimming done, then we're going to move on to cosmetics, which is going to be super fun.
And it's going to trim perfectly first time.
Yeah, that's how it always goes here, don't you know?
Yep.
Anyway, we're going to spend the next 45 minutes putting wing nuts on the deck here.
And then we get to go play in the rain.
Yeah. Or, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do an unboxing. I promised them earlier we were going to do an unboxing. And it's going to be super cool. And it's going to start fist fights and everybody's going to want it. That's what's going to happen. Bubble wrap. Taste of things to come. Yep. It's time to introduce you to my good buddy, Alvin. This is the super awesome, ultra rare kit of the DSV Alvin, put out by FX Models back in like the 90s. These have not been manufactured in a very, very long time. And fortunately, I happen to come across one. This is the kit that you get. The main hull is heavy duty fiberglass in 2 pieces. So comes off just like that, and you've got about 1,000,000 cubic inches of room inside to mess around with. You got your rear deck here, a gigantic resin prop, PVC prop ring, goes like this. And then for those of you that don't know, like this goes in the back, and then for yaw control, the whole prop swivels like this. Gives pretty awesome yaw response. Included in this package too are the tilting vertical thrusters. Yeah, you can see those right there. So these go about here, and they work really neat. So there's actually a gear reduction, so you see how the prop is spinning there, but then you've also got this so that it'll tilt up and down as well. So this bolts onto the hull, and then this goes up and down, and then you've got your main power thruster jiggers that work. And it looks like you can set them up either with the ring, which is what you want, or you can take the ring off and put just like normal props on it. That's all included. Assembly manual, it's about like 800 pages long with lots of awesome photos. It actually looks like this was designed for like one of those S3 boxes.
Yeah.
So when I did mine, I just winged it because I didn't have instructions. But this comes with full instructions that are pre-highlighted. That's worth at least $100.
These pictures alone are worth $100.
Yeah, all the really awesome
really nice pictures.
reference photos. You know, information about running linkages and all of that stuff as well. Then you've got your porthole cutouts. These go, you know, in the sides and front and all of that stuff. So if you've followed my channel for a while, hopefully you'll have seen the build that I did about, oh God, 5 years ago, 6, 7, 8, 10, I don't know. It was a long time ago. And Eric Kloss ended up with that boat. And the owner who sold me this ended up with Eric's boat. So I'm going to put a link to that video up here so that you can check that out. It turned out so good. It was so cool. It was a challenge, but we got it working. But this is now available for anybody looking to build their very own Alvin. And this like scale of the video doesn't really show you how big this is. I'm going to see if Jason will model it. Hold on a sec. There we go. I'm pretty sure it's like 30 inches long when it's all built out.
Super light too.
Well, yeah, until you get all your ballast weight and guts and stuff. But yeah, that builds into a super unique boat. So if you're interested in Alvin, she's going to get listed up here in the next few hours. I don't know, after work, before work. Your chance to take Alvin away. We are out at a little bit of a damp top secret test facility. Got Typhoon back in the water. Let's take a look where she sits right now.
Level. Front's a little
level.
The front's a little bit lower than the back.
Yeah.
Into these portholes here.
Yeah. So really, actually, what we need to do, we need to grab the radio, turn the boat on, and cycle the ballast. So we're going to try and do this as quickly as possible because it's actually getting pretty rainy out here. Keep it off the edge. Okay, so we did manage to trim it out. We didn't capture that, but the reason that it becomes really tricky is because these leaks are coming back again. This waterproof box pressurizes a lot. Okay, all right.
There's some up in the front too, I can see.
So we got 3 places, one here, and one there. And then up at the front is the corner that I had repaired earlier and the waterproof switch. Oh, man. So we ran into an issue before where we would bring it up and we would try to cycle the ballast system and it wouldn't let us. And the reason for that is the same reason the 212 wasn't letting us do it.
Because of the vacuum.
Yep. It creates a vacuum when it comes up. The pressure switch detects the vacuum and locks out the ballast system. So super smart on Engel's part. Helped us identify that. We're going to go back in and bulletproof all of those issues and hopefully once and for all get it all figured out. All right, repairs commencing on Typhoon. Here's what we've done. Gooped all around the seams on both ends. So that is curing right now. They're just little tiny pinholes. So this 5200 should work to address those little pinholes. We resealed this, and then we also resealed both of the outputs for the servo and for the lights. So that should be done. I addressed the leaky bellow seal by the base here, so that's been re-gooped. Now the last one, this is the last one I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we were going to replace this one as well too.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, we might as well do it. These silicone tube sleeves. Now, the issue is these set screws is like he used all different sizes of set screws. They're Loctited and they're also stripped. So what we're going to try and do, and have we done this before with the Dremel and the diamond bit?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna try and notch this set screw with the diamond cutoff wheel on the Dremel so we can get a big flat-headed screwdriver in here. That's the theory. Let's see if it works. We tried it and it worked. So now what we're going to do is try it right here. I'll just show you what that looks like. So we got the diamond cutoff wheel right in the middle. And then we'll get our screwdriver in there. So it comes right out. So what I'm doing, we got everything off. It was all Loctited, so it was a challenge. We had to do some heating and all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm using some of this clear grip Gorilla stuff around the base of that brass tube. We got a little bit of oil in there to lube this. This slips right over like this. And then we push it tight against the hull, and now when that adhesive cures, it'll secure the seal to the bulkhead, and then we've got about 5 mils overlap as a seal for the shaft. Back outside at the top secret test facility where it has stopped raining temporarily. We got to figure out where these leaks are coming from in the 212, and the reason it cut out before, which we figured out, was the pressure switch detected a leak and it wouldn't let us do it. So I'm gonna fire up the radio. We're gonna drop it in and see if we can figure it out. All right, we're gonna see if we can see what we see.
Same spot.
No. It's coming from the middle.
There's no bueno.
We got a strategy. Jason is going to take the upper deck off. The issue is there's a leak coming from somewhere between here and here. It doesn't look like it was leaking at the bulkhead, but we can't get in anywhere in here because this is all permanently affixed. I don't want to break it off. So what we're going to try and do is get a test hose and put it on the nipple for the periscopes. Pressure up the internal dry compartment and listen to see if we can figure out where the air is escaping from. At least, is it here or here? Or, can we see anything? We just got to try something. I'm just gonna say, not a fan of these dry hull boats. everything is concealed. You can't troubleshoot because you'd have no access to anything. Not fan. So we put our ear up here, and this is definitely where it sounds like it's coming from. Here, this area here. So okay, we checked the interface. This is all smooth. There's nothing in there, no cracks or goop or anything. Pulled the O-ring off, and underneath the O-ring does that feel like silicone?
Yeah. Or putty.
It's hard. It's like resin. I wonder if this was like a glue or something that they used.
Yeah, it feels like tape.
So let's clean this out, this whole thing out, and then we'll air it with high pressure air. Put the seal back in place, and we'll see. Yeah, look at that.
It feels like tape.
Maybe.
Maybe they tried to double side tape
to increase the pressure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. We have a strategy. This could be if this separated underneath, it could allow like a big 1/32 hole to cycle the air out.
Which is why we hear the noise from right here.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. Even if it's not, this has to get done anyway. That's kind of crazy. All right, so we took the O-ring right off. Jason's just reinstalling it right now. Cleaned it off completely with paper towel. Used a toothbrush, scrubbed all through the groove. Now we're going to reinstall the seal. And what we're going to need to do now is we need to reinstall the pressure hull and check for, how tight is it? Is it about the same as what it was before, or is it loose? If it's loose, we can wrap Teflon tape around this groove and increase the friction that seal is going to put on here. So let's see. Feel about the same?
Feels a little smoother.
Smoother.
Like it was before. It was like kind of hard to.
Oh, it's a little easier now.
Yeah.
Well, let's pressure it up, and we'll see what happens. Think we did it. Oh no! We just tested. No, you pulled the nipple right out of there. You don't know your own strength. No leak that we could hear. So we are going to button it back up again, chuck it back in the pool, and see what was going on. So that those bubbles, the leak in the back is got down to like little tiny bubbles. I think we're gonna wrap that rear seal again, but before we do that, we're gonna trim a little bit because obviously it's negatively buoyant right now. We don't want that. We're just gonna put a little bit in the back because it has a weird stern heavy attitude. So I'm gonna grab a rubber band and some foam. So Jason just took off. We had a good day today. We got a lot done, although we didn't get a lot done. We did a lot, but not a lot got done. We got Typhoon curing right now. We've got the 212 curing right now. So we decided to use the last hour and work on that Virginia that we started last week. So this is what we've got going on. Here's the access hatch in the back that the previous owner did. No adjustable linkages. So we're going to need to put some adjustment points in here so that you can set your points perfectly. We got the cylinder all set up and tested. We installed the R9SX 900 megahertz antenna. Still got to do a couple of things in here. We've got to program the pitch controller and both speed controllers for this. We got a new universal joint and intermediate shaft that's going to feed our prop in the back. What we also worked out was a system by which you can mount this cylinder in here. Now, obviously, you can see the way that this is set up. You've got a removable bow section, a central hull section, and then a removable stern section. The idea is you slip the cylinder in from the front, and it goes into these cradles that you can see in there. It doesn't go straight. It kind of goes up over this battery tray and then drops down in place on the other side, which means we couldn't just do a circular bulkhead to slip it in. It needs to have room to go up and drop down. So that goes all the way to the back, and then the back of the cylinder fits flush with this bulkhead right here. So what we figured out is we slip the cylinder in place, drops in, and I'm going to make a custom 3D printed bulkhead for the back that is going to lock in against these knurled nuts. And you've seen me do this before. The difference is now what I'm also going to do, I'm going to have a little part that sticks out and you can bolt or put a bolt in and it'll lock against this. So that'll stop the cylinder from moving forward and back because we've got such nasty access to the forward part of the cylinder here. But what we need to do is stop the cylinder from lifting in the front. To that end, and to make this just as easy and bulletproof as possible, this is what we came up with. And it looks bad right now, but once we paint it black, you're never even going to see it. So once you get the cylinder in place, you screw this down, and it is the perfect height to rest up against this foam. It actually has about a 1/16 of an inch of clearance to this. So once it gets down onto the foam, it'll lock the forward section in place. So I think that is going to work really good. The only other stuff we need to do, he's got a bunch of LED lights in here. We need to do an LED light tap out of main power and hook up the sail lights and the stern light that he has in here, and we're going to be set to go. I think if I have a chance to work on this tomorrow, we're going to be really, really close to trimming. Tomorrow, I want to get the 212 finished off, finalized, tested in the pool, and do another leak test of Typhoon, and potentially work on this. So, other thing we got done, I got the radio all programmed up and everything. So, we got a lot done today. There was a lot of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back stuff, especially with Typhoon and all those stupid leaks that keep reoccurring over and over and over again. Learned a lot more about the 212, got that all figured out too. So I'm going to take my drafting for the 3D part that I need to print out. Go ahead and do that now, and then wrap up the day. All right, Friday morning, wrapping up the week. It's raining. I don't think we're going to get boats in the pool today. So I've elected to work on the Virginia, and started out great. We got lighting cables run. I've got the new bulkhead for the back for mounting the watertight cylinder on the printer. Should be done in maybe half an hour, something like that. Running into problems with the linkage. This is funky. Okay, I'm really going to try and focus this for you, but it's difficult because I got my phone inside the boat. There we go. So these linkages are connected. You can see that linkage rod is just like hooked over the yoke. So there's no like hole that you're clipping that linkage clevis into. It's just hooked over the yoke, and it can slide up and down. So your throw changes depending on where it goes. And then as that yoke goes through its arc, it changes the angle of the linkages, and they're binding because they're running through a support. I got to take this whole stern apart. All right, this is what I'm talking about here, boys and girls. These are just looped over the rods, so they are free to move up and down. That position is not locked in. The yokes themselves are probably okay. This is not the way that you want to do it, though. So I'm going to need to solder on a horn on the bottom and side, and then connect the linkage rods to them. All right, here's what I came up with. I managed to solder on some tabs, and provided we've got no interference between these two, we should be in good shape. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight, but hook up some linkage clevises to them and see what it looks like. Well, that was a bit of a production. This is the stern stuck on, and the way this works is you got bolts that go all the way around the outside that bolts the stern on. Now you can see I've got a magnetic coupler in here. I haven't made final adjustments in this because I got to power up the cylinder and make sure the servos are centered. But you can see the idea. Magnetic couplers catch on there. I got the drive shaft all sized out. I've just got to pin the dog bone in there. This is not a boat that has easy access. So this is going to be kind of like Typhoon in that it's going to be a production to get the boat ready and to post mission as well. You know, it's going to involve taking out like 10 bolts, removing front and rear sections of the boat, sliding the entire cylinder out, checking it. Of course, once you get this all together, you got to make up all the linkages, and it's a bit of a production. It's not like, you know, the more standard subs that we're used to, where there's like the top, you drop it in, click, click, drop the top down, and you're done. This is the opposite of that. I think this is going to wrap it up for this week. I feel like I got a lot done, and this is one of the longest videos I think that I've ever put out. Hopefully you guys are cool with it, but I want to leave you with where I left off on this Virginia. So there is still some work to do, but everything for the most part is functional, if not fully calibrated. So I got our forward dive planes are functional, and then running into the back, we've got our rudders with pretty decent throw. I'd say that's about as good as we're going to be able to get on this, and it's nice and smooth. Stern plane override. I'm going to try and get more throw out of those from the servo in the cylinder. And then, of course, I got throttle. And that speed controller needs to be calibrated because it's only got like nothing in forwards. And then ballast. Done. Well, not done, but functional. So next step is to pull a cylinder out, do all of the calibrations, increase the throw for the rudders, and then we are going to be into a trimming situation. This is a big boat. I didn't realize how big it was. This is a healthy 5-footer. I don't know, by the looks of it. We got some cosmetic work to do. This paint is just peeling off, and we got some funky streakage going on here. But you know, hopefully I can clean this up without having to redo all of this. So I'll get, you know, paint and do the streaky, weathery stuff. But the lights are pretty cool. It is a good place to leave off. Well, with that, myself, Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks, is going to leave you off. You have a great rest of your day. If you got questions or comments about anything that you saw in these videos, drop it down below. I would love to hear from you. Email me anytime, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. Like and subscribe my videos. It helps us out a lot. And as always, we will see you next time.